Hey guys, I'm mid-editing and I realized I never properly introduced this video. So in my Amazon favorites or Amazon purchases video a few weeks ago, I kind of teased that we had an upcoming basement project, and this is it. So I'm gonna take you through the process of installing our basement waterproofing drainage sump pump system. You'll see us preparing for the installation, and then you will see the install itself. What you're not gonna see, which I'd been hoping to get all done in 1 week, is we're also going to be repainting the basement floor and then moving everything back that you're going to see us move out of its spot. But we learned that the cement in the basement has to cure for 28 days. So repainting the floor will be a project for probably over the holiday break. But please enjoy this very intense piece of adulting content. So I teased this in my last video about Amazon purchases, but here's our dehumidifier. So we had one in the basement. It had been running for like literally 10 years straight, and then it died. So last year we bought this one, so it's been running for like almost 2 years. And the way this is hooked up is it runs into a little like pump, and then it gets pumped up out of the house using the same system that pumps out condensation from our air conditioner. So it's been working like pretty okay the whole time we've been here, but it's sort of iffy. Like sometimes the pump doesn't recognize that there's water in it or something, and then the whole thing stops running and you have to like dump the bucket, and if you're not in the basement for a couple days you might not notice, and then you come down here it's all humid. So anyway, I was just thinking a couple months ago, why don't we look into getting like an actual installed dehumidifier system, because obviously we need one, it's always running, so let's just have like a real system installed. Now, we've never really had any problem in here with like water collecting or like getting water when it rains. Really the only thing that's ever happened is like if we've had literally a hurricane, sometimes some water will collect in this corner because it's like the lowest corner. But we really don't have any kind of like moisture problems. And actually one of the things we noticed when we were shopping for this house was like how nice and dry and like not basement-y smelling the basement was. So we were never really concerned about like water in the basement. But you'll notice we don't have a sump pump or anything, which I think probably most homes have nowadays. This house was built in the 70s, and you know, they just weren't like a standard thing at that time. So when we had the guy in here to look into doing a dehumidifier system, he did a whole survey of the whole basement and noted that there are things like this, which like we didn't even see this because there was like a shelf in front of it, but there's areas where water is like breaching through the sealed cinder block walls of the basement. And like here's a good example. We didn't even see this because there actually is usually a sofa pushed up in this corner, but again you can see there's like effervescence kind of on the wall that's been breaching through. So it actually was like worse than we had realized, and he had like a moisture level reading meter, and apparently our walls are like 40% moisture, and he said usually when you get to like 20% is bad, so actually our walls I guess are pretty bad. So we learned a ton about like basements and how they get waterproofed and how they get water in them, and basically our basement needs a whole system installed to keep it from, you know, getting moisture and keep the moisture drained out. The fact that the walls were painted with this dry lock paint, which actually the previous homeowners did to like for us, they actually did it when they were selling the house, like to help us keep the basement dry. You actually shouldn't do that apparently, because if the cinder block walls are just open and uncovered, then moisture can like evaporate through them. And so because these are painted and sealed in, there's kind of nowhere for the moisture to go, and so it sort of is like building up in the walls and eventually could cause like foundation issues or structural issues. So what we're going to have to do is they are going to dig a trench around the entire perimeter of the basement. And then in this corner, which apparently is actually the like lowest corner, I'm not sure. But in this corner is where they're gonna install a sump pump and you know, some other equipment, the dehumidifier and all that, and it'll have all kinds of battery backups. Basically, it will like never fail unless we're without power for like a week, and there's like a foot of water in the basement. This will still be able to keep running, so that's good. And it will drain, so this is the back of our house, so it will actually drain out like 20 feet away out into our backyard. So our project right now that we've been working on little by little over the last few weeks is we had to move all of this stuff, which normally these shelves are like around the walls of the room or on the perimeter. We had to move everything away from the walls and place it all into the middle of the room so that they have room to work and do all that installation. So we just have one last section of shelves left to do. It's this big heavy one that we left for the end. So we'll work on moving this today, and then the installers are coming Monday, and hopefully I can kind of film this process and show you what it looks like to film a basement waterproofing system. It's starting already. They just got here. So we have the cats locked up in our room just for safekeeping, and every time we've had them locked up here in the past when we've had loud work done at the house, they have freaked out and like clawed up the carpet trying to dig out the door. So this time I thought I will sit in here with them. I got my laptop and I'll just try to work here, even though there's like a vent in the wall that's like a direct shot of all the drilling noise. I don't know if you're hearing it, if this camera's picking it up, but it's probably gonna be just like drilling sounds for the next couple of hours. So hopefully at least me being here with the cats can kind of like help keep them calm and not destroying the room while this is going on. By the way, I should mention it's not even 8 a.m. They said they would get here at 7:30 and they did, and it is just now almost 8 o'clock and like they're already set up and at work. So this was supposed to be 2 days and they actually said they will probably be done today. So that's exciting. Is the jackhammering done pretty much?
Yeah, I think he's gonna go back around again.
Wow. That was quicker than I thought it was gonna be like all day.
The crew's fast.
Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, not bad. No water now.
So it's 11:30. They've been here about 4 hours now, and I've been down to visit a couple times, but I'm trying to stay out of their way. So they really quickly jackhammered the whole perimeter of the basement, and then they went around and drilled the holes in the cinder block walls, which we were expecting based on a video that we were shown when we got our initial like job estimate, that water would come like pouring out of them, and it did not, which is a little disappointing. But on the other hand, like, it's good that our walls weren't full of water. But so now they're going around and installing like the gutter system around the perimeter of the basement, and they had also put in the sump pump already, so there will be someone here later, like an electrician, to hook that all up. There are drains that are in our basement window wells, so they drilled holes for those, and there will be just sort of like a downspout, so if water gets in the window well, it will drain down the wall of the basement and then into the drainage system and the sump pump. And then the other thing that they took me outside and showed me was where we're gonna run the like pipe that drains everything from the sump pump out into the yard and, you know, releases it far from the house in the yard. So the one thing with that is we are going to be getting a deck installed in the next couple months, and the place where that drain was going to release was basically like right where the edge of the deck is going to fall. So they actually are maybe going to make it a little bit shorter so it comes up under the deck, and that way like we won't even see it or have to deal with it. But it shouldn't be an issue for the drainage, because I was saying, like, should we actually go further out so it comes out past the deck? Does it need to be out in the open for better drainage? But they said no, let's just put it so it comes up under the deck, and then, you know, no one has to worry about it. So hopefully that was a good choice, and that's kind of what everyone's working on right now. And then, like I said, in the next couple hours I think the electrician's supposed to be here, and they said they probably will actually wrap up today. We were told 2 days for this job, but that's sort of like they budgeted themselves extra time because they don't know how long it will take to jackhammer the floor. Ours apparently went really easily. They were saying that they did a house recently where they only had to do a drain along one wall, and that took them 2 days. You know, they over promise, or I guess, you know, oh yeah, under promise and over deliver, or, you know, they'll tell you it's going to take longer just to build themselves extra time in case they do need it. But actually, fingers crossed, they might be fully wrapped up today, and then we don't even have to deal with all this tomorrow.
We're giving a breaker and a
and then everything comes around here to your sump pump.
Okay.
So the dehumidifier just sits like this.
Yeah, okay.
Everything, I set everything, so it's set and forget it. So
okay.
It's going to turn off and turn on as needed.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to notice this guy run a lot, just because it's the winter time.
Yeah. Oh. they're installing the line outside.
The winter time.
Okay.
It'll be running more during summer.
Well, and it's humid, yeah. Just out of curiosity, how would we turn it on it? There's just the switch here and that's it?
It's right over here. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, do what you gotta do.
Okay. Everything's all digital right here.
Oh, okay.
So on this.
Okay, well, I didn't realize they had finished up and left already. So let me just show you the outside part. So here's the pipe that comes up from the sump pump, and then you can kind of see how, like, there's a line here where the grass is torn up. That's where they're putting the pipe. And then here is the drain. So anything that gets pumped up out of the sump pump will just come up here and drain away from the house. We are gonna have a deck built over this at some point soon. So this will just all happen under the deck, and we won't even see or know that it's there. And then here's the finished, like, trench system, French drain system. So there's a couple of these, like, clean out valves throughout the basement, so in case anything does clog, they can kind of flush it through. All of this new fresh cement should be dry in the next day or so, but we won't be able to paint over it for a month. So my hope was that we could paint, you know, repaint this basement floor now this week, and that's probably gonna have to be a holiday project for us. And then here's the centerpiece of the system. So this is the dehumidifier now that will just be running. It kind of just will do its own thing, but here's where we can change the settings if we need. And then this is the sump pump, of course, so that leads up to where we were just looking outside. And this is the whole battery backup system, which they said this is all fine just sitting on the floor like this, kind of all contained. And then this red thing here is something that, like, if it does fill with water, this is a water alarm that will start going off. Also, if this battery backup stops being powered, then it will also alarm and there will be some red lights. So if our power's on and any of this stuff is alarming, then we should contact them because there's a problem, but otherwise should be good. And here's like our drop cloth sheeting system again. They did a really great job cleaning up down here. The floor is probably cleaner than when they started, but you can see there's just a little bit of like dust, like muddy kind of stuff that did spray onto the sheet. So luckily we had it pretty well covered, but I don't think that it would have like gone up and over. So I think that our system of, we actually stapled this to the floor joists above. I think that worked pretty well, and they were pretty impressed with how well we had really cleared everything out and moved it to the center of the room. Like, I don't know if I'm capturing this, but basically all the walls of this room had been all of our shelves and everything that was in here, and we moved it all into the center and encapsulated it all with this plastic sheet. So I think that's like a good way to go if you ever need to do something similar. Seemed to work well.